Thank you for telling us Zoom. We are going to start in a comfortable seat. Let me highlight me first. We're going to start in a comfortable seat today. As always, if you have a question or if we're in a shape and you need a modification for it and I'm not giving it to you, pop it in the chat box. That will pop up on my screen and get my attention, so that if I'm not over here actively checking in on you all, you can let me know that you need something. That's always helpful. Start in a nice comfortable seat. I'm actually going to sit up on my blanket to get started, if I can get my kitty off of it. Miss Amelia, they love my yoga blanket. I have to keep it folded over so I can keep the kitty claws off the mat. Excuse me, madam. Excuse me. Thank you. Putting something under your hips, a blanket, a beach towel, a small pillow, is actually a kind of a lovely way to sit. I'm just going to start with a nice, comfortable cross-legged seat and just close my eyes here and come into my breath. And as we sit with this nice, tall spine, I invite you to ask yourself, how do I feel today? How does my body feel today? Identifying any aches or tension or soreness. And then obviously identifying areas that feel spacious and good. So maybe you had a bruise somewhere and it feels healed, it feels better, right? Let's evaluate the whole body, the good, the bad, and the ugly. There's your pop culture reference of the day. And then ask yourself, what's my emotional state today? Am I well rested and I feel happy? Am I content? Am I anxious about something? Am I in a state of anticipation? There's something happening later today. What is my emotional state? And then lastly, what is your energetic state? You can be in a really good mood and your body feel really good and your energy still not be up high. And that's perfectly great. That's totally fine. We don't ask these questions of ourselves with any judgment or any expectation. We're looking truly to see what is in this moment so that we can determine what really serves us in our practice as we move. That's really what we're looking for. So if your energy is low today, you choose to move with a little flow, a little ease, a little effort. You may choose to skip a shape altogether. You may choose at some point to come back to seated, bring it all back into yourself, or to lay it all the way down, or to take a child's pose. These are always shapes that are available to you. I put together a plan for class and suggestions of how to move through shapes on your mat, but ultimately it is your practice. And if you really spent the next 45 minutes with your knees tugged to your chest and you're breathing, then you're still fantastic. It's still your yoga practice. Really deep cleansing breath. Let the shoulders rise all the way up to the ears. Breathe in. Exhale, push the shoulders back down. We're going to add in the nose here. So we're going to lift the shoulders and the nose, looking up a little bit. Exhale, pull the shoulder blades together down the back as you drop your chin towards your chest. Inhale, shoulders up, nose up. Exhale, lower it down. And now bring your hands together, prayer posture, with the thumbs at the sternum here. And as you inhale and you lift the shoulders and the nose, lift the heart up towards the thumbs as well. So you're pressing the belly a little bit forward. And then as you exhale, press those thumbs in, palms pressed together, drop the heart back just a little bit in space, shoulders come down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, come down. Now with the hands in prayer here, you may notice that the shoulders don't have the same amount of lift, and that's perfectly fine. We're focusing in a little bit of a different location. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sink the heart back, drop your chin down. Release the hands, palms up underneath your knees. Inhale, use that grip to lift the heart forward. Really press the belly forward, long stretch through the front body. And then slide the palms on top, facing down. Drop that heart back, chin comes to chest. You can use the hands here as your safety net. You're not going to fall over. Palms turn up, inhale, breathe up, lift. Exhale, palms down, slide back. Little seated cat-cow. One more. Palms up, pull the heart up. Palms down, slide the heart back. Inhale, coming back up. All right, to bring fingertips to the shoulder blades. Keep the elbows nice and low. Circle those elbows up and around. Still moving with the breath. One more time, nice and slow, soft movement. And then we'll turn the elbows in the opposite direction, slide them back and up and around. Exploring, what are you feeling through the tops of your shoulders, the upper back, lats, the traps, maybe even into the erector spinae, the muscles that move along the spine. And then we're going to lift those elbows out to the side. Fingertips are just light right on top, keeping this top part of the shoulder pressed down. And we're going to turn the right elbow back and then turn the left elbow back. Let the head move with you, keeping the hips really stable here. We're opening up into the core just a little bit. Notice, just notice. Notice what's happening. What do you feel? What do you hear? What do you see as your gaze shifts around your room? And then we'll come back up nice and tall. Inhale those fingers up towards the sky. And then the right hand will come behind the right hip and the left hand will cross over. Pull that left shoulder blade down. It kind of wants to roll up and forward. Slide it a little down and back. We're not looking back over the shoulder just yet. I'm looking at the right side of my mat. Inhale, float hands up to the sky. Look up at the thumbs, nice and light. And then bring the left hand behind the left hip and we look to the left. Easy twist. Lift both hands up. Interlace the fingers, turn the palms up towards the sky. Exhale, press those palms forward, pull the shoulder blades apart, drop the chin to the chest. Inhale, reach those hands up. Turn the palms back over and bring them to the back of the neck. I like to keep the thumbs pointing straight down, so they're down on the sides of my neck, right at the bottom of my skull. Inhale, lift up a little bit. Exhale, chin to chest, elbows come forward here. Keep the rest of the spine really tall. The more you relax the shoulders and the weight of the elbows down, the more length you're going to get in the back of the neck. And if it's too much, then release the hands a little bit or all together and just let the head drop heavy. Keep the sternum lifting up towards the sky. And then lift that head back up. Release the left fingers to the earth and bring the right hand to the left ear. And very gently we'll draw that right ear towards the right shoulder, relaxing this left shoulder down. You might even need to roll it out a few times. And then bring the head back up. Float those right fingertips to the earth. Left hand comes up and over to the right ear. Draw the left ear towards the left shoulder. This is just very gentle pressure with this left hand. Right fingertips are on the earth. And when you go to choose your mantra or your intention for today's practice, go ahead and release the fingers. Bring the head back up over the heart. Very nice, everybody. We're going to reach, we're coming back to the intention. Reach arms out. And we're going to draw the right arm across the body. Keep that right shoulder way plugged down. And once you've gotten that arm stretched over, look over the right shoulder. When you go to choose your intention for today, I invite you to fill in the blank in this sentence. I choose. I choose love. I choose healing. I choose abundance. I choose peace. I choose enoughness. Whatever your word is, I invite you to make your mantra to be a focus on something that you choose today. Bring the nose back forward, open the arms up really wide, lift the heart, a little Titanic moment here, right? Kate Winslet, the front of the boat. And then we'll slide that left hand across, left shoulder dropping way, way, way down. Close this door and then turn and take a little look over the left shoulder. One more breath here. Notice that I will occasionally wiggle my fingers to keep the hands active and alive. And then bring the nose back, release the hands, and just some really simple neck circles. I like to imagine that my nose is tracing a line, maybe like a clock face or a big circle, so that you don't drop and crunch the neck too far back. You're thinking more up and around. It's a little bit of a different take. And then circle it around the other way, lifting up a little more out of that pelvic floor, keeping the hips heavy. And then come back to center. I choose. What do you choose today? We're going to shift into tabletop all fours. So I'm going to mindfully move my body here in a way that just feels good. Let me slide my blanket off here out of the way. And then I'm going to take my time coming into my tabletop here. Fingers spread nice and wide. Aim to get the maybe thumb or index, the thumb and index finger pointing near the top. You want to try and have the soft part of your bicep forward and the bony part of your elbow pointing back. So you may need to make some adjustments depending on how flexible your wrists and shoulders are today. And then push the tops of the feet down. Take a little look back at the feet. Looking side to side here. Are they turning out towards the outside corners? Are you noticing now that you're covered in cat fur? Maybe your toes are starting to turn in towards the middle. See if you can't straighten those out. And then come back into your center. Really pull the shoulder blades open and lift the muscles of the front body up. So all the way from the collarbone down to the front side of your tailbone, those muscles are turning on and lifting up. Then we'll drop the belly, lift the head, heart, and hips. Pause here in your cow pose. Are your shoulders starting to crunch up? Are you still actively pushing fingers into the earth? And today we're just going to rock our hips a little side to side. A little cow pose with a puppy dog tail wagging here. Just rocking those hips out. Keeping that heart lifted. Noticing when you take these small movements, does it make it harder for you to keep that rib cage lifted, even though the belly is still low? We're stretching through the front body. And then we'll reset back into our neutral cow pose here. And on an exhale breath, whenever that comes for you, start to tuck the tailbone, draw the chin down towards the chest. Push the earth away as you come into cat pose today. And really pull the shoulder blades as wide across the back as you can. And then nod the head just a little yes, and shake it just a little no. Maybe tuck the chin all the way to the chest, look back at your belly. Then we're going to reset back to our neutral. And we'll take a few breaths on your own here just to shift from cow to cat, taking your time. At some point here, you might pick up a wrist and circle it. If you're noticing, you come through tabletop, you might say, oh, wait, I need to give my wrists a little love. We could pause for that. Really mindful of all the alignment cues of where your body is as you shift through space here. We're going to come back to a nice neutral shape here. Walk the hands back towards the knees and up the thighs, so that you're bringing the head up over the heart and the heart up over the hips. The glutes are going to engage here. The tailbone is going to tuck slightly, and the core is going to get really strong to hold you up in this shape. We're going to interlace fingers now and give the wrists a little love, a moment of rest. Maybe you even get a little funky and make a little wave. It's kind of fun. Pause, open the fingers, slide them over one so that the opposite thumb, the weird feeling thumb, is on top. And notice now as we continue to hold in this shape that the muscles in your calves, your inner thighs, the glutes, the quads, they're starting to fire to hold you here in this lovely shape. Giving the wrists a little bit of a rest. Okay, palms are going to face up in front of you like you're holding a book open here. We're going to fold the hands into prayer posture. Let me get this right now. We're going to fold the backs of the hands together. Book is open, back of the hands together. Turn the fingers down, float them up, and come back to holding your book. Backs of the hands together, fingers down, slide through, lift, and open your book. Back of the hands together, slide it down, lift them up, open the book. One more, backs of the hands, fingers down, float them through, open the book. Pause. Bring the left hand to your heart, and the right hand is going to reach back behind you, keeping the hips fold forward, the shoulders forward, and then slowly float up and all the way around. This is a sneaky way of getting a little bit of lower body strength work in. I know you probably figured that out already. Reach it back, turn that thumb, rotate the palms, slide up, circle that hand around, and go the other way. Lift it up and rotate it back. Can you pull this hand back without opening the heart away from the front of the mat? This left hand here is an anchor on the front of the body. And you're working with your range of motion. One more, up and around. And then the right hand comes to the heart and the left hand goes back. Little rotation here. I'm turning my thumb as I come up and around. Keeping those hips neutral. One more, up. And then pause when it comes forward. Thumb is up towards the sky. Go the other way. Up and back. Feeling that, really feeling into that shoulder blade, the upper and mid back. And then come to center, stack both hands over the heart and bow the head for a moment. And then we're going to release the hands back forward, back to our tabletop position. The right toes here are going to slide back and stay tucked under. And I have to move my blanket here. Toes are tucked, shoulders are over wrists, push back into the heel and then rock into the toes. Just a small shift front to back. Keeping the nose nice and neutral towards the ground so that the back of the neck is long. And we're going to come back here to our nice neutral tabletop, right toes on the earth, and slide those right toes out to the side, up towards your up towards your hand actually, until the leg, and I'll switch sides so you can see, the leg comes basically straight out from the hip. That's what we're looking for. So the foot doesn't need to come up too high. Just looking to get it nice and straight out to the side here. And then walk your hands a little bit forward and we'll shift the hips forward. Now keep those right toes pointing towards the top of your mat. Same direction as your fingers. And we're going to do the same rocking sensation front to back. But what you'll find here is that we're opening up into the adductor of that right leg, the inner thigh. Little shift back and forward. Now you see why I mentioned at the beginning, grab a blanket or a towel so you can pad a knee, because we're resting on one knee here. And then we'll come back. Walk the hands back right underneath the shoulder points, maybe even a little bit wider than. And we're going to keep the journey of this foot going. We're going to bring the right foot up and outside the right hand and set the body up. You might want to slide that left leg back a little bit. We're now in a lizard lunge. So turn those right toes a little bit out, like towards the top corner of the mat. And we're going to start by rolling that right knee open. Pivot so you can see. The toes are turned slightly out, and then we'll roll that right knee open and squeeze it back in. And if that angle on the foot feels funny, shift so the toes go in the same direction as the fingers, or maybe that just lets you get a little deeper into your shape. Keeping these hips dropping down towards the earth and the shoulder blades wide. And then we're going to squeeze this right leg up and in and hold it here. And then walk that foot into the middle, bringing the right hand outside. So we're in a nice low lunge. Left knee down, right foot forward. Holy smokes, I seriously sat on that blanket, you guys. And now I'm covered in cat food. I love my babies. Okay, up on the fingertips here, bring the heart a little bit forward. If you have blocks, this is actually a fantastic place to grab them and put them underneath your hands. Because we're going to reach the heart forward, push the hips forward, and then we'll slide the hips back and draw the right toes up. And you might want to walk the hands back here so that you're keeping good length in your spine. And then notice, do your toes want to turn to the right or to the left, and actively rotate side to side and see what's happening here. What's happening in this right hip? And then bring it center, roll forward, walk those hands up back to our really good low lunge. And then walk it back, lift those toes. Lift the heart a little more. Try not to drop into a cat back here, which is why blocks are so great, because it brings the earth up a little closer to you. So you can keep this nice tall length in the spine as we rotate through toes. And you can use a book, or you can even use like a big cooking pot, whatever gives you a little lift here. We'll roll it forward. My blocks are going to shift. I'm dropping down here. Hips come down. Now look, the heart comes up. One more time. Walk it back. Lift the toes. And pivot. Toe or pinky toe down. Big toe down. Come back to the center. Slide the right foot back next to the left. Oh, hello. We're back up on our knees. This time we're going to circle both arms back, up and around. Wiggle the fingers a little bit. Maybe circle the wrists. And we're going to go the opposite direction. Lift it up. And around. Is your belly strong here? Are your glutes engaged? Is your low back nice and safe? Left hand comes to the heart. The right hand is going to come to the back of the right hip, and just push that right hip a little forward so you could lift the heart. Tiny, tiny bit. Tops of the feet are active into the earth, or tuck those toes under so you're really stable in the low body. And then lift back up and switch. Right hand to heart, left hand above that left hip. I've got this left hand right at the low back on the left side. Just a gentle press forward and a lift in the heart. The babiest of back bends. And then we'll release and we'll come back to our tabletop all fours. Nice mindful setup here. Notice the back of the neck. Come to your breath first. Feel connected to the earth and breathe. And then we're going to slide that left foot back. Toes are on the earth. I'm a long yogi. I'm taking a little walk up on my mat. We're going to press that heel back and then roll up into the toes, waking up the fascia of the foot. And the calf muscle a little bit. The belly is strong. There's a little bit of a core component here in this. And then we're going to pause and slide this left foot straight out, toes point forward. I think this is kind of fun. Now, you can get a little more ease by keeping that foot pulled in, but what I really would love is if you keep your hip bones neutral, just like they were in tabletop. So you might need to push that leg out just a little bit. The hands walk slightly forward, and we'll shift the weight into the hands and then back. Forward and back. Notice if it's really challenging in the ankle here of your left foot to keep those toes pointing forward. What's happening in that foot? Do you need to make little shifts or pivots in order to keep some ease? And then we'll pause, bring the hands right back under the shoulders, just a little bit wider this time. Slide that left foot up. Keep a bend in the knee here now. And we find our lizard pose. Maybe walk that right knee back just a little bit to get a little more length, a little more room for stretch in that right hip. And then we're going to open the left knee out, roll it away from us, and then squeeze it back in. Roll it out. Squeeze it back in. Feeling all the length in the front of that right hip. Roll it out. Back in. Slide out. Roll it up. And now we're going to shift the weight a little bit. Walk that left foot into the middle. The left hand comes down. Great time to grab your blocks again. Find your nice low lunge. Left knee over left ankle. Hips pressing forward. Lift that heart up a little bit. And then we'll exhale. Roll it back. Find half splits here. And turn the foot a little side to side. Observing what happens inside that left hip. And then we'll walk it forward. Slide into this low lunge. Feel the strength of that left leg. Lift the heart. Slide it back. Pull the toes up. Windshield wiper that foot. If you have tight IT bands, you may not move your foot very far before you get a lot of sensation. And last time, roll it forward here. Find this nice lift, heart coming up, hips forward. And slide it back. And we'll just take our turn one time. Pull the toes up. Turn the pinky toe down. Pause here for a moment. Roll the big toe over, internal rotation. Bring the toes up to the sky. Here we go. Slide the foot back, side to side. Rise back up. Loosen up the wrists if they built a little tension there. Reset your body. Shake them out a little if you'd like. We're going to inhale both hands up to the sky. Look up at the thumbs. And then exhale both hands to the small of the back this time. Fingers are pointing down. My thumbs are right at my waist here. All I want us to do is press the hips a little forward and then lift the heart to the sky. And exhale, reset, head over heart. Inhale, push the hips forward, lift the heart up. Exhale, reset. Press the hips forward, lift the heart. Squeeze the elbows a little bit together this time. And then reset. And we're going to bring the hands to the earth. Take the knees out to the edges of the mat. Slide big toes together. Hip creases come back. Reach those arms forward and drop heart down to the earth. Extended child's pose. Beautiful. I am coming to check on you. A little thumbs up there if you're doing all righty. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Everybody's good. Okay, breathe in your child's pose. And on the next inhale, we'll look up at the thumbs, rise back up into our tabletop. Stretch that right leg back behind us. Reach that right foot out to the side and slide it all the way up to the top of the mat, walking it into the middle, back to our low lunge. Left hand's gonna plant down on the earth, and you've got the option here. You can keep the left knee grounded, or you can tuck the back toe and lift it if you want a little bit more effort in your movement here. We're gonna turn and reach the right hand up towards the sky, opening the heart up to the right side of the mat. Big twist. Then we'll bring that right hand all the way back down. We're gonna tuck the back toe now, lift the back heel, pivot the left heel into the middle of the mat. We're setting up for a warrior one base. So make sure that you can push the pinky toe of that left foot down. Right knee over right ankle. Today, I invite you to try rolling up one vertebra at a time, keeping the arms heavy and low, head rises up last. If that is not for you, stack hands on the thigh and find your way up. Hips are forward, heart is forward, head is forward, and then we'll lift the hands. Warrior one. Notice as you inhale, those shoulders rise. And exhale, they come back down. One more time, inhale. And we'll exhale, interlace the hands together behind the back. Inhale and push the knuckles down, pull the heart up and open. And we'll slowly slide the right shoulder down towards that right knee. Now, if your shoulders are tight, your hands might stay right here on your tailbone. And if you want to open them a little, you might start to let those hands lift up towards the sky as we fold into humble warrior. Everybody release the hands to the tailbone. Bring the left hand down to the earth. Pivot the left toes to the top of the mat. And now everybody lift that right hand. And bring the right hand down. We'll step it back, tabletop, all fours, knees coming back to the earth. We'll take a cow pose. And a cat pose. Reset into neutral. And we'll slide the left toes back. And the left toes come out to the side. And then slide that foot forward, walking it in, shift that left hand. We're gonna find your way to low lunge, left foot forward. Maybe slide that right knee back a little bit. Option to lift the back knee or to keep it grounded here. Plant the right hand, squeeze the left knee in, and lift the left hand up to the sky. Now, if this is too much in the shoulder, of course, you can always bring the hand behind the back if that feels like more ease for you. Keep that left knee squeezing in. You've got this. Release the left hand down, tuck that right toe, lift the right knee, slide the right heel in towards the middle, setting up for warrior one. And the angle of this back foot might be just a little different this time. So pay attention, make sure that pinky toe can be grounded down. And then here we go, ground into that front leg, roll it all the way up. Shoulders come up and back, heart, Hips, heart, head are forward, and then rise those hands up. This time, maybe we rotate the pinkies in a little bit like you're waving at the wall behind you. We pause, and we breathe. Breathe all the way in, reach up, maybe even look up a little bit. Exhale, we'll interlace the hands. See if you can put the opposite thumb on top. Inhale to push the knuckles down, roll the shoulders back, lift the heart, and slowly exhale, left shoulder coming towards that left knee. Maybe the hands stay resting on the tailbone. Maybe they start to lift up. The head is super heavy here. It helps to find a focal point to look at. Get that soft drishti. Inner thighs are squeezing together and both feet really grounded. Release the hands to the tailbone. Bring the right hand down to the earth. Pivot the right toes forward. Lift that left hand up to the sky. Big twist. And then slide the left hand down. Set back to tabletop, all the way down, knees together, really together. And I'm going to give you two choices here. You can slide the hips back for child's pose, or you can keep the toes tucked under and come and sit your hips on your heels for toe stand. This is great stretch through the fascia of the feet to unlock the backs of the legs, but it is a very deep and intense posture. So if it's not for you today, don't stay. We're all going to meet in child's pose at some point here. So you can take this little detour through toe standville if it makes you happy. And then lift the hips, release the toes. Heart melts to the thighs, forehead drops heavy. Bring those hands back behind you, palms facing up next to the feet. And rest here for a few breaths. One more breath in. Maybe you let a deep sigh out here. Just release something. Let the shoulders come a little bit more forward, a little more opening in the back. Then we'll walk the palms of the hands up next to the knees. Tuck the chin all the way into the chest and really take our time as we roll up. Fingertips come to the earth just a little bit in front of you. And I'm turning my fingers out to the side because that feels better in my wrists. I'm going to slide my hips over outside my left foot. And then I'm going to lift to center and slide my hips over outside my right foot. I'm just going to move a little bit side to side with this, keeping neck in line with the spine. Notice if you've got a little more range of motion, one side or the other. That is so natural. I say all the time, but it's true. We look symmetrical, but our bodies are not, they don't function that way. And then notice as you kind of get a little rhythm in your slide here, if you can get a little bit deeper. As I shift my hips left, my left elbow bends, my right arm gets a little bit straight. Give me one more on each side. And then we'll come back up to the center. Shift the feet out in front of you. And I know you've all been waiting for this part. We're going to lay down. This next shape, you've got options. I'm grabbing a block. If you have a prop handy and you want to grab it, go for that. We're going to come to our bridge base. Your first option is to take not so much effort, but motion over stillness. So the feet are planted nice and firm, right? Maybe walk the heels in a little closer to the body. Squeeze your knees in. And in fact, if you have a prop or something you can use to actually engage and hold your knees together, you might even give that a try. We'll tuck the tailbone so the back gets really flat into the earth and then take a little roll up towards the sky. And then we'll roll it all the way back down. So you can take motion here, moving in and out of bridge, or you can take your prop, roll the hips up, slide the prop under the sacral bone, right behind that sacral chakra. And we will pause here to find a moment of rest in supported bridge. So if the movement in the spine feels good and you want to ooze your hips up and back down to the ground, that's what you should take today. And if this opportunity to pause and really, once you get a prop underneath your hips, I encourage you to relax your glutes, actively relax your quads and the inner thighs. These muscles have been firing up now for 43 minutes, 44 minutes. So you might actually need to encourage them and say, oh, you don't have to work right now. It's okay. You're on your break. Go get a cup of water. Go to the coffee machine. Okay, don't go to the coffee machine. Those things are bad. Or so I've been told. I don't drink coffee, so I don't know. I only got that from television. Okay, ignore me. I'm distracting you. If you're rolling through the hips, take one more round to roll up. Maybe pause at the top. And then take your time to roll back down and reset the hips on the earth. And then whether the hips are lifted or grounded, everyone's going to bring the feet up towards the sky. Separate the feet about hip width or a little more and circle ankles and wiggle toes and point and flex the feet. Notice when you flex the foot, are you feeling an engagement through the hamstring? If you're not, let your feet come a little closer to your face. This always looks to me a little bit like I'm walking on the ceiling. So you can even take that little, exaggerate that, bend one leg, straighten through the other. Alternate that flex and point, and then lift both feet up. Flex the toes, turn all 10 toes out, turn all 10 toes in. Back to that internal, external rotation in the hip. And then draw the feet together and let the feet come a little closer to the face. My feet are relaxed here. I am neither pointing nor flexing. I just have a nice neutral foot. But if you want to add a little stretch, you can flex. And if you want to get that stretch to the tops of the feet or the front side of your ankles here, you can point. Or you just keep them neutral. And eventually, as your feet start to slide, you're going to feel your quads turn back on. And they're going to give you a little bit of a shake and some love. And when you find that point, lower the heels down and let the knees come in towards the chest. If you have a prop under your hips, you might need to walk your shoulders up away from your hips to create a little more space. You are welcome to bring hands to shins here and deepen this stretch a little bit. Or maybe today you open those palms out and away and just allow the shape to be what it is on its own. And then imagine that there's a little lung in your low back, maybe two lungs, one on either side of the spine, and you are breathing directly down into that space. In fact, as you breathe in, picture that air moving down all the way to your low back. And then as you exhale, push the air back up and out. And if that's an unfamiliar visualization for you, this is a fantastic breathing technique because the air actually is going down, but we have this image in our head that we breathe and there's the lift, right? So for me, especially, just at least for me, it required a little rewiring of my brain to really get the sensation of breathing in and down and out and up. So something to play with here as we're chilling. In knees to chest pose. I'm going to take one more good breath right here. Maybe a nice sigh as you let it out. Palms turn down to the earth. I want you to turn your core on just a little bit. Pull that low belly in and strong as you start to press the knees together and away from your heart. And maybe you want to just do this one foot at a time and take the right foot or maybe just the left foot down to the ground. I always start with the right, so I'm going the other direction. Just the toes kiss, and then the other foot comes down and the toes kiss, and then the heels settle in. Push through the feet if you have a prop, slide it out from underneath you, and everybody gently roll the hips all the way down, keeping that tailbone tucked just as long as you can. Arms open out to the side, palms are up, feet are still in our bridge base. Close your eyes for a moment and observe the low back. This is like one of my most favorite moments in my yoga practice every day, when I get to this spot and I can feel that open, spacious, like I could fit a universe in my low back. It feels amazing. I love it. I'm hoping you're feeling something luscious too. And then we're going to walk the feet out a little bit wider than hips, almost to the edge of the mat or out to the edge if you like. And then deep breath in here in the center. Exhale, slide the knees over to the right. Use that whole exhale. When you get there, pause. If you need movement over stillness, then you're going to windshield wiper. Inhale, back up and over to the other side. I'm going to choose stillness here. And I'm going to take right ankle to the top of my left thigh and just draw that left knee down. My shoulders are anchored into the earth. And then I'll release. Inhale, both knees center, really taking my time. And I'll go exhale to the left. So if you're windshield wipering, you can continue with that slow dreaming movement. If you're in stillness, the knees are to the left, and maybe the left ankle comes up on top of that right thigh and draws that right knee a little deeper down. Shoulders are even. And then the left foot's released and the knees slide back up. And the soles of the feet come together and the knees open out to the side. You're welcome to grab your props here if you want to give those knees a little extra love. No, not needed. Really, the only thing you need to practice yoga is a body that breathes. You don't need a mat. You don't need blocks. They're sort of nice little extras. And now I invite you, when you get your feet settled, soles pushing together, knees relaxing out, bring your hands to your body somewhere, right? Maybe you want to rest them on your forehead or take prayer hands to the center of the forehead, or maybe you want to stack your hands over your heart or rest your fingertips on the rib cage. It really doesn't matter. Find a way to bring your hands into connection with your body. And whatever felt like the right place for that to happen, that's the right place for that to happen today. We are going to be here for a few moments. So do your best to make yourself really comfortable. Finding nice support for the knees. Finding nice support of the low back, the mid back, the upper back. That whole spine is all supported by the ground underneath you. There is really no effort in this pose. There shouldn't really be effort. I don't use the word should very often, but I don't want you to feel like there's effort in this pose. I want you to find an unfolding. Maybe the shoulders walk a little bit down away from the ears. Maybe you shift your hands to a new spot on your body. Maybe you just feel that pull, like, oh, I need to bring my hands to my hip creases, or I need to shift them. Go with what's coming up for you. Ride that wave. And then if you want to stay in this shape for another minute, you absolutely can. We've got the time. And if there's another shape that you're really dying to take, maybe you want a pigeon on back, ankle to knee pose, or maybe you want a happy baby, or maybe you need a deeper twist. If there is something that you are feeling pulled towards, I invite you to explore that. And if you're not feeling any tugs in any direction, then just stay here, pause, continue to breathe. If you're on one side, like a pigeon on back, you might switch sides now so that we stay balanced. And wherever you are at now, I want you to make your way into final resting shape for today. And I really do invite you to take a nice corpse pose to lengthen the legs out. If you're in bound angle still, gently bring the knees together. Take your time. If a full laid out Shavasana with maybe a cozy blanket wrapped around you or a cushion under your knees, if that's not for you today, or if you know you need to hit the ground running after class, you always have the option of coming back to seated and taking a seated meditation. But any chance you get to lay all the way out in Shavasana, my friend, I take it. And then let yourself settle. Let the breath become really natural and easy. Find a softness in your face. Release tension in the jaw. Peel the tongue off the roof of the mouth. Let the practice today, honestly, let your whole day, let the whole world just slide away like water off a duck's back. Breathing deep and easy. Bringing a lightness to the breath, a lightness. There's only ease here now. While your body integrates the movement. And maybe your spirit integrates your intention for today's practice. Come back one more time. I choose. I choose. Every single day we get to choose. Joy and happiness and peace are not something that happen to us from the outside. It's something we choose from the inside every day. Sinking now. Floating. Welcome to Shavasana. deepening your breath and your awareness and attention of that breath. Noticing all the little shifts in the body with the rise and the fall. And then as that breath gets deeper and smoother, allow it to create soft movement in your body. Whatever that means for you today. I'm not even going to give you a list. Just start to move. And let the small movements create waves and ripples that become bigger movements. Until eventually, maybe you turn to one side today and pause in a little fetal position, or maybe you're ready to rock and roll and come back up. Eventually, that movement is going to bring you back up to seated, head over heart, heart over hips, long spine. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Sigh it out. And the palms of the hands together and the thumbs right up to the center of the forehead, ajna, the third eye. Today, I choose bowing the head now. Reverence, reverent submission to our practice, to our choices. A reminder that we take our intentions with us off the mat. Go take them and make it a beautiful day. Namaste.